Okay, so question for you.
Yeah.
How many children do you think leads to peak happiness, peak life satisfaction?
Mm. Well, I think a lot about like the two pizza team from Jeff Bezos, right?
Okay.
And that like if you
Are you going
need
to make this into a long answer?
no, I think like if you need, like in general, like if you need a team, if you have a team that you can't feed with two pizzas, that's too big.
Oh,
Right. So I think probably like let's start with what unhappiness looks like. And it's probably something bigger than that. So then, what feels like a team is probably more than one and less than 8
yeah.
children. So it's probably the average of that. It's probably 3 or 4.
Mm, interesting. Well, I think that, jury's still out because there has been some research done on this, but it's not necessarily easily duplicated. But the most widely cited 5-year study that came out of Australia about this actually found that parents with 4 or more children had the highest life satisfaction.
Mm.
So while they often reported higher stress day to day, they had higher meaning,
Yeah.
more purpose, and long-term life satisfaction, as well as stronger support systems that the researchers believe dramatically changed outcomes for them.
Yeah. What is it measured over like a
5 years. I guess the researchers expected that parents with massive families would be less happy. Actually, from what I could find, is that 3 kids is actually the least happy state, believe it or not. So, what it sounds like is that there's this U shape in parental happiness. So, people that have 1 child are meaningfully more happy than people that have 0 children. So, I guess what I understood it to be is that single is less happy, then you get more happy when you get married, and then you get even happier when you have 1 child, but then it starts to dip after you have 2. And then 3 is that nadir, that bottom point. And then 4 or more is where this life satisfaction seems to increase.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm curious about this. Anyway, are you bringing this to me to ask me to have another child with science?
Not currently. No.
Okay.
No, not currently. No, I just think it's interesting. Like there's definitely, the whole trad wife phenomenon. And I think Elon Musk has really contributed to this as well. There's definitely this idea of more kids equals better, more kids equals higher status, right?
Sure.
And we're not having any more kids,
No.
at least not out of my body.
No.
And at least not in the near future.
No.
Right. And so I just wanted to talk about that today.
Yeah.
So maybe we should go back to the beginning.
Yeah. Where do you want to start?
Remember that Christmas where we spent it with some family?
Uh-huh.
It was the first Christmas after we got married.
Yeah.
And I was like, Greg, I am so not ready to have children.
I do remember that.
And then what happened?
And then you changed your mind pretty quickly.
Like 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
And I was like, Greg, I'm ready to have a baby. Well, at least I'm ready to be off birth control.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember. I still have a little bit of scar tissue from not you changing your mind, but just from me not realizing, like, I didn't play back the limiting factor in our family plans, right? So the limiting factor in what we wanted, which was multiple children, ideally 3 or more, was like the age timeline that we were working against.
Yeah.
And in order to have babies every 2 years, like starting when you were 30 made sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I, sitting there at 31, was like, I'm still pretty young to be a dad. Like I've got a couple of years before I need to be a dad, but I didn't think about the timeline that needed to work from like just genetics and, whatever
And the
it is.
gestational periods.
Well, not even gestational periods, but just like your ideal window, right?
Mm.
And I think that I've spoken with a lot of younger people recently that said that their partner wasn't ready, and I'm like, how old is your partner? And it's usually a guy, and he's like, she's like 27 or 28. I'm like, the best thing you can do is not talk about it. Because in my experience, one day they will come to you and be like, okay, it's time. And, that's just you counting down the days until that happens. And once they say it's time, you don't really have a say in the matter because you gotta move forward with that plan.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So the woman drives.
Also, the biological clock is a real thing.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think this is a pretty common thing, but as soon as I went off birth control, I had this feeling that I wanted to get off birth control and just kind of see what happens. But then as soon as I went off birth control, I was like, must have baby, right?
Bingo. And that's actually the thing that I named to somebody recently is I said, birth control is this trap that keeps women thinking that they're pregnant. And so they don't want babies. But once they go off, their clock starts ticking. And it's like, hey, guess what time it is? It's baby time.
Maybe we shouldn't be so flippant because I don't know the data on that. However, that was certainly my experience.
Sure.
Like 100%. And so then we got Winston, right? Because I was like, if we're going to be in this try to have baby thing, I want a baby immediately.
Yeah.
And that really worked for us, right? And so we got pregnant with Hunter pretty shortly thereafter. And then what do you think in thinking about having Jade?
Yeah.
I think we were on the same page about it being time. Is that right?
Yeah. I'm still stuck on this. I'm sorry. I'm still stuck on this idea of a pill or whatever it is creating this psychological and biological effect that makes women who are on birth control think that they are pregnant. Or think that,
well, you mean physically it tricks their bodies into thinking they're pregnant. That's why they don't get a period.
Right, exactly. And which means that they're living their life in this, what I would call this, the latter half of their cycle, as opposed to like the very happy and full ovulatory phase, which is extremely outgoing.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with that.
Thanks. I agree. It sucks.
There's something wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like I feel badly that we're pushing our girls to just suppress that ovulatory phase that is where they derive so much pleasure, energy, and delight, outward and inward.
Yeah. No, I mean, I really hope that neither of our girls ever have to go on hormonal birth control, right?
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. This is something for another day. I'm
Maybe
like,
with an
my
expert.
mind is, I've thought about this a bit and I've talked about it a little bit, but my mind is kind of blown by this idea that like so many people don't want to have babies because they're not awake to the idea that they.
Yeah. I don't
should.
know. I think fewer people want to have babies today than ever. I can't say for sure that that's because of hormonal birth control, but perhaps it is. I mean, certainly right now in the US, the fertility rate per woman is about 1.6 children, which is well below the replacement rate of 2.1. But globally, the fertility rate has fallen from 5 children per woman in 1950 to 2.3 today.
5?
5.
How is that even possible? That's an average.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, we're really starting to.
I mean, I'm actually more shocked by the 2.2 to 2.3 today globally. Like we have more children in our family than the average in the world. That's that's actually surprising to me.
I wonder like how much of this is the spacing between children caused by women going back on birth control after pregnancy.
I don't know. We have really left the land of data though when you ask these questions.
I'm just wondering.
Into the land of conjecture.
I'm just curious.
Certainly. Anyway,
Okay.
we're really. I don't necessarily think that spacing is I think it's delaying the start. So for sure, births among women under the age 35 have fallen significantly in the U.S. and births from women ages 40 to 45 have grown.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. That part definitely makes sense.
I
mean, I feel so much younger at 41 than I reflect on my parents looking and feeling at 41. And
so this is part of the challenge that we have sat with for the past number of years is that, so I had Maverick when I was 35. He was a surprise, by the way. We were hoping to have 3, but we were not planning
No.
for a third one that quickly. But I'm so glad it worked out. It worked out great. But I would say after Maverick, it's been a journey. And we haven't always been on the same page.
Sure.
There have been days, weeks, months where it has been challenging to not be on the same page because we usually are.
Yep.
Right? And right now we are.
Interestingly, I wouldn't say months. I think that
Yeah.
for you,
I know, because I tracked it at one point. You're right. Months if you string them together.
if you string them together, but it always followed the same cycle. And so I was able to just sit there and instead of being like, is this what we really need? I was just like, this is showing up again.
This too shall pass.
Yeah.
I would say there was a good 6-month stretch there, maybe 2 years ago now, that more days than not, I wanted to be pregnant. I don't even want to tell you that I wanted to have a 4th child. Like my body and my mind just really wanted to be pregnant, which is a crazy thing, honestly.
It's not that crazy if you think about like how it should work. Like if I was designing a human to populate this earth, I would be like, hey, once you start, make sure that during this window you want it, and then that window doesn't close, and that body needs to keep regenerating, but not enough so that it's fully healed, enough so that it can have another baby.
Right. Well, I definitely did not fully heal between children.
That's
for
saying.
sure. And that actually goes back to one of your primary reasons for us not having any more kids.
Correct. And that's the thing that I was fighting nature, against. I was fighting against nature with this idea that I didn't want for you to have to go through this with your body again. And nature was like, hey, are you ready yet?
Yeah.
Are you ready
Can you
yet?
talk a little bit more about that though? Because to be quite honest, I think that I really was in a pregnancy, breastfeeding malaise for a while. And I don't know that I actually think that you were more aware of what my body needed than I was.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny because usually you have the best memory when it comes to these sorts of things. But
yeah, but when you're not sleeping and like
bingo.
you got all
And
the
so,
feel-good
again,
hormones of the nursing.
Another beautiful design of our human bodies is that you forgot all of the pain and suffering that you went through with each child more so than the last, right?
Yeah, by the 3rd pregnancy, my body was starting to fall apart.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, it was.
And I saw that firsthand, and I was like, yo, like let's not put you through that again. Like, not that you're gonna die or anything, but like this is gonna take away so much joy of what you currently have if you do it again. And the people around you are going to be missing the person that is here.
Yeah.
Because of what you will need to put your body through.
Right. Yeah. Being a mom to Hunter especially was really hard when I was pregnant with Maverick. I feel like Jade was so little that, so she was, only about a year when I got pregnant with Maverick, and I could still give her enough. I don't think I breastfed her for as long as I probably would have otherwise. But other than that, I feel like I could support her needs, her waking up at 4 a.m. needs. But it was really hard to be there for Hunter.
Yeah.
When I was pregnant with Maverick. I mean, it's hard to be there for Maverick now, and I don't even have more kids. Like that, kind of 3-4-year-old age is pretty tough.
It sure is.
But I guess what ultimately has given me peace for now around not having more kids is that you asked me at one point when I was sobbing on the floor of our bedroom around how I really wanted to be pregnant, when enough would be enough.
Yeah.
And I didn't have an answer for you, and I still don't have an answer for you. And I think that's the reason why for us 3 has to be enough, because it wasn't a feeling like, oh, just one more.
Right.
It was like, no, I just want to keep doing this until my body literally shuts down.
Do you remember that time that I was on the phone with an investor and we were working on a deal, and he's like in the hospital basically, or very close to it, and his wife is pregnant with his 5th?
Yes.
And I knew that he had 4 kids, but he didn't tell me that she was pregnant with the 5th and that like it was imminent any day now. And I remember him saying to me, I said, wow, like you've got such a big family. Like Isn't that beautiful? And he's like, Greg, don't make the same mistakes that I did.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I don't know that there's ever. We have one friend. They have 3 children. The youngest is Hunter's age, so they're older now, and she just has the gift of like, she's like, as soon as I had her, our last daughter, like I was just done. Yeah. I knew that our family was complete, and I envy that. I really do. I'm like, I have never had that feeling. I am at peace with having 3, and I, pack 3 lunches every day, and I fill up 3 water bottles, and I'm just like, yeah, this is like a beautiful design. Like I love the 3,
Yeah.
But I would be lying if I said that I was 100% happy about it. But well, I'm at peace with it.
I could be a 2 pizza team by myself.
I know. I was gonna say this whole 2 pizza thing is bad for us because we eat so much. We eat so much.
But it's across everything. Like we're definitely gluttonous a little bit when it comes to like wanting more out of this, wanting a second serving of that, wanting like our kids to be able to do this in addition to all the other things that they're doing. Like it's something that drives us, but it's also a little bit of a character flaw, that we can't just sit with. Enough is enough.
Right. We're maximizers, not satisficers in a lot of aspects.
Look at our refrigerator, look at everything that we do. And it's not surprising. Like it is okay that you struggled with this. Like that is not abnormal. It fits the profile.
Right. Well, I guess I always said to myself, I want to have a 3rd kid because I don't think I can be a perfectionist with 3. Mm-hmm. And that has been true for sure. But also based on like the research that I'm seeing, and this is not me trying to have a 4th kid, but just based on the research that I'm seeing, I do see that that's why the life satisfaction increases, because you like physically can't, as you have more children, be a perfectionist.
Yeah.
Right. And so you have to focus on the longer term, have to focus on the meaning and the support structures that exist when you have a large family, meaning you can't do it all.
Yeah.
The other thing I think about is this whole Google, how they were supposed to have that 10% time.
Yeah.
Meaning 10% that they're allowed to have, like, just do whatever they want and work on creative projects. Yeah. Shouldn't say do whatever you want. 10% time, meaning like focus on creative projects. Yeah. I also think back to like Hugh Jackman always saying, just give 80% in your workouts, because you just leaving a little bit on the table. Sure. So whatever it is, I think of these best practices, and I think that is what we have done. And as you know, I don't feel pulled to do too many things in life. I'm not like someone that has these grand callings really, but one thing I really truly feel called to do is to foster. And so as you know, but just sharing with everyone that like our agreement is that we're stopping with 3, but that we will foster when the time is right.
Yeah. Unless, caveat, they make it possible to have a baby in a test tube until the age of 5. I'd take that baby out and I'd be like, this is great. Join the team.
Talent sets the floor, character sets the ceiling. Let's go.
If we could program that child and not have to take care of it ages 0 through 5, I would be totally on board.
Yeah, we're almost there. Maverick's almost 5. He's 4.5. Every day is a struggle. Every day is a struggle. Yeah. But he's going to get there. Yeah. One day at a time, we're going to keep him alive, and we're going to be there.
Well, when you have a child that needs as much as your first, but there's 2 others around. I know. It's really, really.
If anybody has successfully navigated this like 4 to 6-year-old boy transition, especially like youngest boy, please let us know. We're taking all tips and suggestions right now.
And if you want one also for like
if you want to borrow one, see what it's like.
Like, yeah, it's totally open. Emails are open. DMs.
You know where to find us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one other thing.
Uh-huh.
At some point during my postpartum malaise, I don't mean to say it in a bad way, because I think I was clear-headed about this. You made a very clear move to not have any more children.
Uh-huh. With your encouragement.
Yeah. About how old was Maverick when you got a vasectomy?
Maybe like 1.5.
So I was still nursing.
You're still nursing. you were sleeping again. I do remember that. And yeah, I think there were, we had just moved into this house maybe I guess a year prior, and we had met a bunch of people in the neighborhood, and some of them were older, and everybody was just like vasectomy, everybody that we met. And I was like, cool, sign me up. And you said, like, I'm never going on birth control again.
Yes, I did.
And you were like, you're going to have to take this one for the team.
Yes.
And that was the way it flowed. You said, hey, I'm not doing this. This is the thing that you're going to do. And I was like, okay, cool. Let's go.
Yeah, I think you had an easier time with it than a lot of men, from what I understand from Bravo television, honestly.
I think, if you're on Bravo and you have a segment about getting a vasectomy, you're going to draw it out a little bit.
Like hem and haw about it?
Yeah.
Have you convinced any other men you know to get a vasectomy?
No. But the pushbacks that I get are like, what if they miss? We're like, I never want to mess with anything down there. And I'm like, yeah, but like, this is a really positive thing that you could do for your family, and actually becomes the gift that keeps on giving.
Well, it was the thing that as we were kind of I was going through these ups and downs, and we were having these conversations. It definitely did put a block on things, right? I couldn't even dare I sneakily get pregnant, right?
Yeah.
I hate to think that I ever would, but to be honest, sometimes hormones really get the best of you.
Exactly. No.
Yeah.
I mean, that was clear to me.
Yeah.
But
so you feel good about that decision?
I mean, every single day.
Yeah.
It's literally the gift that keeps on giving.
Just that freedom.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Pro vasectomy.
Very pro. Very pro.
And so here we are. We're done having kids for now, but I do look forward to the time, which is not right now because we're still in the thick of it, but I do look forward to the time when we can broach fostering.
Yeah.
More than just puppies. Fostering humans.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything you'd like to add?
3 feels great to me.
So despite what the research says, 3 feels like the right spot for us.
Yeah. I mean, given all the other things that we want to do
in life.
Yeah.
Climbing our own mountains, traveling.
And at this point, I think that ship has sailed anyway, right? Because the spacing that we have is brilliant. I love it.
Right. It's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
For sure. I think that if we only had 2 kids now, we could have gotten on board with, having a 5-year gap and then having 2 more.
Yeah, sure. So it works for us.
It feels pretty great.
It does. And we reserve the right to change our minds.
Yes. So we're done having kids for now.
Might have a 5-year-old, maybe 2 5-year-olds that are twins that we don't need to adopt. Just grow them in a lab.
You're nuts. Love you, Goosey.
Love you, Goosey.